What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Dynasty Pod, where we try and get you ready for all of your Dynasty leagues. And today we've got a fun episode. We are going to be doing a rookie draft. So we're doing 3-round rookie draft. Sam is going to be picking from the 4, Trev is picking from the 8, and I am picking from the 12. So we'll have a nice spread there for you, just to show you what we think of some of the rookies this year. So let's talk about Baker Mayfield first, because this just happened recently. We got Baker Mayfield going to the Carolina Panthers. It is going to be a 5th-round pick that can turn into a 4th, depending on his playing time.
Conditional 5th. That's bad.
Yeah, he took a $3 million pay cut, and the Browns are going to be paying $10 million, and the Panthers are going to be paying $5 million for his salary. So let's talk
Can we just ask first, are either one of you guys truthers of Baker Mayfield? Like, do either one of y'all believe it was the Browns, or do y'all think it was Baker?
I think it's both. I don't think Baker is going to be this great quarterback. He's not a franchise guy. I think he's more of like a Jimmy Garoppolo. But I do think he was playing hurt. He shouldn't have played hurt. It was stupid of him to do that. But yeah, I think he's a fine quarterback.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it changes my view of like Panthers players for fantasy much at all. Like maybe a little of a bump for like you, DJ Moore, but yeah, I mean it's pretty status quo for me. I mean, I do think Baker's better than Sam Darnold, but yeah, I mean.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I think he's a huge upgrade, but that doesn't mean he's good.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like he's definitely Sam Darnold is very bad. So but I mean the thing is like I'm not convinced even that if he doesn't absolutely just play incredible, that they don't start looking at Matt Corral like mid-season even. So like I don't think they're committed to Baker as like this is the guy.
No,
obviously not with the draft capital, right?
He's on the franchise tag. Not franchise tag. His rookie
5th year.
5th year option.
Yeah, 5th year option.
He's on the 5th year option, so this is going to be it for him. He's going to want to go. He's going to want to play, get paid. So if he plays well, it's up to the Panthers if they want to pay him, but they're not tied to him after this year, and they're not paying him a whole lot of money.
No, I think he's going to be one of the best paid backup quarterbacks in the NFL. like he's still not going to be.
I will say I do think it bumps up your. I think it should bump up your perception on DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, a little bit more. I think it's going to be
maybe a little bit.
The touchdowns are probably going to come more now. Hopefully for DJ Moore, you would think that he's going to break his streak this year. 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's all CMC. I don't think that's Baker. I think if CMC isn't healthy, I think they're looking at the same type of offense because I don't think he's that much better than. Well, I mean, he is that much better than Sam Darnold and whoever else they've mangled over the last few years with Cam Newton and all that. But like, I don't think he's a little bump of like what's a little bump, like 2 touchdowns more with Baker or like 5. Like, is he getting to 9?
I think that the variance is there now because I think what you saw with Baker is that he would go down the field. You know, he would throw it a lot more. That's not something Sam Darnold would really do all that much. And I think
to be fair, he couldn't hit his guy though.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, it's tough because I think the upgrade from Sam Darnold to Baker is a pretty big jump. Like, you're talking about Sam Darnold, the guy who has never eclipsed 20 passing touchdowns in his career. So
yeah, he's rough stuff.
And Baker, he's done that, 3 out of 4 years of his career. So it's tough. I want to say I think it more so helps Robbie Anderson be a little bit better. I think there's going to be more stability. That being said, obviously we'll see if Baker throws to him after what he said, but
right.
I think it's it really doesn't change a whole lot. I think it doesn't change anything for Christian McCaffrey.
No, I don't think it changed anything for him specifically. I just meant if he's not healthy, I think we're looking at the same type of Carolina offense. And if he is healthy, the whole offense is better because if you have to worry about CMC, your wide receivers are way more open. So I just don't think he's so much better than what they've had. I think he's much better, but I don't think he's so much better that we have to worry. If CMC is still not a part of the offense, I think it's basically the same offense.
All right, well, I want to do a little bit of a heat check with you guys on DJ Moore. So I'm just going to bring up a couple names that are being drafted around the same spot as DJ Moore, and I want to see what you guys think. So first up, we have
let's do it.
DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson with Trubisky.
Yeah, I think
Trubisky is if he's the
honestly,
quarterback, then I'm taking Deontay Johnson.
So I'll probably say a lot of people over DJ. Yeah, no, I'd say Deontay. I'd pick it or Trubisky, honestly.
Okay, all right. How about Terry McLaurin, who just got a massive contract?
That's tough. He's never gotten above the 20 mark, right?
So which one am I down on least?
I think I would personally take Terry McLaurin here. I think they're both pretty similar in terms of like their
I think so
their
too.
situations. And
I think I take McLaurin as well.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be more of the focal point, like you said, Trev. If CMC is healthy, he's going to be their guy that they're going to want to have the offense around. I think Terry McLaurin now, after getting paid, is going to be that guy in Washington. And I think Wentz it's an upgrade from Heineke too.
For sure. That one's actually really tough. I think that's where my line is. If I had to pick one, I think I would pick Moore because even with his lack of touchdowns, I just think he overall is going to finish better than Scary Terry. He may not have his ceiling, so I guess if it depends on who you drafted as your wide receiver 1 or maybe even 2 if you can get one of them as your 3, but just objectively everything being the same, I think I take Moore over Scary Terry.
All right, DK Metcalf.
For the ceiling.
I'll take DJ Moore over.
I'll take DJ Moore. I'm so not a believer.
I think that the quarterback.
I think Drew Lock is clearly the worst out of those quarterbacks that we've talked about so far, honestly.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
for sure.
T. Higgins.
I'll take
T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Yep. T. Higgins. He's in a much better situation. I still think there's a chance that T. Higgins could end up better than Jamar Chase this season. I think there's going to be some regression for Chase. And that's a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I do think both of them are going to be very good, but I think T. Higgins is definitely going to have another good year.
I think if Robbie Anderson goes down, DJ Moore stays the same, and if Jamar Chase goes down, T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1 easily.
Yeah.
So especially when we're talking about those two in competition. I mean, DJ Moore's already the wide receiver 1 for his team, but T. Higgins has the capability of being not a wide receiver 1, but the wide receiver 1.
All right. Well, that's about it. So let's just get ready to jump into the rookie draft. We're doing 3 rounds, picking from the 1, the 1-4, or the 4, the 8, and the 12. So it'll be fun. So you guys ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. All right. Not too much of a surprise here. We got Breece Hall, Drake London, Ken Walker coming off the board. I think that's Breece Hall is the 101, like clear 101. I think once you get after that, I think it depends on what you need, receiver or running back. Like I don't think it's a bad idea. Like there's no wrong option taking Ken Walker at 2 over Drake London or any of these wide receivers that you like more.
I don't disagree. I mean, honestly, it's neat at that point. Other than quarterback or tight end, I wouldn't take either that early. But if you're talking about, it's really just if you need the running back or if you'd rather have a wide receiver there.
Yeah. So let's see. So I'm at the 104. Talking about need, I think if I was really quarterback needy, I'd be open to taking a quarterback here. I'll just say that I think we are looking at this as a super flex dynasty mock draft. It's very hard to get quarterbacks in super flex dynasty. So, I'd be open to taking Pickett. I'm pretty high on his potential outcomes, but I'm not going to draft based on need for this. Just so regardless of need, I think this is a pretty easy pick for me. I think that the top tier of wide receivers is Drake London and Treylon Burks, and I think the top tier of running backs is Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker. So there's one player left in that top tier for me would be Treylon Burks. I know
even with his asthma.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say there's concerns about his health potentially, but I think he comes into a more established offense than Garrett Wilson. I think he is stepping into a much bigger role than Chris Olave, who's still playing alongside Michael Thomas. So he doesn't have the injury concerns of Jameson Williams, even if asthma is not quite the same as the injury we have with Jameson with the knee injury. So so I'm going to go ahead and take Burks here. Pretty easy for me, honestly, at this bit. 104.
So let me ask you a question. You said quarterback would be in contention if you were needy of a quarterback. So I guess my question is how needy do you need to be to take Kenny Pickett here?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, I think if I have, let's say, if my quarterbacks are Daniel Jones and recently replaced Sam Darnold, or somebody, like if I have something as bad as that, which I honestly have seen quarterback situations as bad as that, where you have like a quarterback who's been in the league 4 to 5 years, not necessarily old. Like if I have like Tom Brady and Matt Stafford, if I have old quarterbacks, I don't think I'm taking one here. Like I'll just coast. Matt Stafford's got enough years left. Even if Tom Brady retires this year, maybe I can get one in the second. As far as a quarterback, just because those quarterbacks are both very good still. But like I think I have like these of these young but bad quarterbacks like Wentz, Jones, Goff, Sam Darnold, I think I would take Pickett because I'd be pretty concerned at that point.
So I do have a follow-up with that. All right, so totally agree. But if you have the 104, even if you have, let's say, Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, so you're in like super need of one, right? Would you rather trade the 104 or take Kenny Pickett here?
You definitely can trade the 104 because I don't think you have to look at your situation and see who you're trading with. But obviously, I think most people are going to be trading in to try and get one of these top 7 guys. So you can move back to the 8. If you can try and like go to the 8, 9, even then, I don't think quarterback is necessarily going to. You're taking more of a gamble if you go past 8. But if you get the 8, then because I think the clear consensus 7 are Breece Hall, Drake London, Kenneth Walker, Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jameson Williams. Those are the 7 guys that are always going to be drafted unless someone, goes off the rails or has a bigger need at quarterback. So if you can get to the 8, I think that's a great idea. If you can stay in the first round, I think you're risking it a little bit, but I think it's still not terrible. I would try and trade the 104 personally. I would at least try.
Yeah. Honestly, I disagree a little bit. I think I think that totally makes sense. Like from kind of like an ADP typical draft perspective, but almost every like real rookie mock draft I'm in never really works out as ADP. People have like big needs at running back, big needs at quarterback, and they draft guys early. So I'd go back to maybe the 5 or the 6 if I could, but I wouldn't go back as far as the 8. Unless I was like really confident in other teams' positions that they weren't going to take quarterback. So
see, I'm the exact opposite. I'd be willing to move all the way into the second. So you guys are like a little back in the first. Yeah, like I just don't think anybody you're gonna get this year as far as like in that tier is gonna be as valuable as in a super flex at least as your QB2 if it's Sam Darnold.
So maybe the best strategy is honestly try to trade into 2023.
Yeah. I think if your quarterback room is looking bad enough to the point where you have guys like Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, maybe you might want to consider taking a year off and trying to get next year's quarterback.
Accumulate some capital for next year where there's some quarterbacks that. Yeah, no, I mean I think that makes sense. I think if you think you can tank into early 23 first and get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, that's much preferable to Kenny Pickett. So
at that point, you would trade. You would just draft Traylon Burks anyway. Like you'd be like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna get Burks and worry about quarterback next year.
Potentially, yeah, that's a good question. You're on the clock though, Trev.
So after you took Traylon Burks, we have Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jameson Williams coming off the board, and it is your pick.
Yeah, it took a lot of time with that one just to distract from the fact that I'm 108. No, that's a good question, but dude, in this year's rookie draft, and we've talked about it before in the Ghost episodes, but like this is the worst spot in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion to draft, just because it's not. There is a tier break of the entire draft after these 7. So looking at different positions, you got quarterback Pickett is there. Running back James Cook's ADP's like risen like crazy. Dameon Pierce, the Houston guy, who didn't he just have some news that he may be the starter?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be tough to figure out what they're doing in Houston right now. He's got Rex Burkhead and Marlon Mack with him, so he's going to get playing time.
Well, I'm just talking about available at this. So, like, it's looking like James Cook, who's got a shared backfield, or Pierce, who's got a shared backfield. That's at running back. And then wide receiver, it's Sky Moore, Watson, Pickens. I think that's really about it as far as that tier break, at least. The Lazard Kings, Alan Lazard and Sammy Watkins, Lizard and Lazard, muddle up the Watson news, but I think in the Ghost episode I took Watson. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I've risen on a guy recently who I think is going to be a big deal, and I'm guilty of that whole rise of opportunity versus maybe talent. So if I'm at the 108, I am not taking Watson anymore. I am taking James Cook in Buffalo. That's super early for me. Like, if I see that, I roll my eyes at people. But, like, opportunity versus talent, he's got both. Zach Moss we consider, like, undraftable at this point and droppable for ease. So, I don't know. If it's between him, Pickett, Moore, and Watson, which to me is the next big group of guys, then I'm taking Cook, at least as of now, unless I'm just wide receiver needy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick at all. I think, once you get to that point, you've got your choice between whatever wide receiver you think has the best chance of breaking out and taking the running back that you think will get the most work, which I do think James Cook has probably got the best mix of opportunity and, stability in terms of an offense. Like some of these guys, they might not see a whole lot of work, like Isaiah Spiller or Rashad White, or some of these guys are in.
Even his
Pierce he's in a bad offense, so I think the pick is fine.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, his next ADP position group, or the next guy that's in the same position ADP wise, is Pierce. And I think if you're talking about trying to get a running back in this draft outside of the top 2, I think it's got to be James Cook. But I mean, we're in July now. A couple months ago, he was going middle of the second, and then it slowly rose to close to the 11, 12, maybe the 10. And now for me, like I said, unless I'm just wide receiver needy, I'm taking James Cook at the 8 spot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of James Cook. I have a lot of shares of him. I think I would definitely take him at the 8. I'd take him earlier if I have a running back need. I just really honestly think that the Cole Beasley targets are going to go to James Cook. I think he's going to play like a slot wide receiver type role. I think Buffalo targets are going to be very valuable. There's going to be a lot of points scored. So yeah, and I think he's has like a role that's going to last a while. You know, I think even if they replace Devin Singletary, I don't think it's going to necessarily be with like a bell cow guy. I think they'll try to continue to have a thunder and lightning first and second down guy and a third down guy approach. So yeah, I like the Cook pick here.
Sam, you said you'd take him earlier. How much earlier if you were running back needing?
If I was running back needing.
Like, who would you, Olave or over Jameson Williams? What about Olave?
I really like Olave right now. I think he fills a role the Saints really need, and I think Michael Thomas could easily be done after this year. So I really like Olave. Jameson Williams, just like there's a lot of competition on that team. It's a young team. There's a lot of competition for targets. There's not necessarily a quarterback situation that's been figured out yet. They might draft another wide receiver. You don't really know, and you're not going to get much out of him this season. So, I think the talent's there. I think he's a fantastic talent. So, I'm not down on Jameson Williams, but I could take Cook over him if I needed a running back.
Maybe you're about to go auto here.
No, he picked him. He picked him on mine.
Oh.
Yeah, you got 6 minutes and 23 seconds.
My thing was not up to date, so that's all right. Yeah, so after he took James Cook, we have Kenny Pickett, Sky Moore, and Christian Watson going off the board.
Very chalk draft so far, honestly. This draft
it is very chalk, and I think I might switch it up a little bit here at this point. But yeah, so honestly, these guys, I think personally, I'd probably want Sky Moore here at the 112 if he could get to me. I'm not that big on Christian Watson. I'm just not a fan of the talent. Kenny Pickett would be good if I needed a quarterback here if he fell, but he didn't. I'm looking here at just who I like the most, and I think I know both of these guys that I'm going to take, not in any particular order, because I'm at the 212, yeah.
Yes, not a snake draft.
Not a snake draft. Yeah, so now I have to rethink it.
I want to take two here, but we'll see with the other guy.
I don't want to take two here.
Okay, good.
This is not one where you really want. Yeah. So I think there's still one guy that I would really like to take in the first round here, and it's Rachaad White. I really like the talent on White. He's my running back 4 in this class. And I think the opportunity for him is going to be pretty good. He's coming into a situation, especially for Dynasty, he's coming into a situation where Leonard Fournette probably going to be done after this year. He's probably going to walk out the door with Tom Brady when he leaves. So you don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be, but I think he's going to be the clear guy. He's also got the availability for passing work. I think he's going to be able to do some good passing work stuff. So yeah, I really like Rachaad White. I think there is a clear break for me after Rachaad White. And also and I'm not even as high on Pierce, to be honest. I know he's gonna get more opportunity probably this season than Rachaad White.
He was drafted pretty late. If he doesn't play well, the Texans could easily use one of their mini firsts to draft a first round running back.
And that's what
very replaceable.
It's very
a second too. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. They have tons of picks, right? Oh, that's a great comparison. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, late round running back pick. That they'll see if they have anything. If he doesn't play great, they're gonna.
Yeah, and even Michael Carter played well last year, and they still.
They still replaced him. So yeah, no, I think he has potential this year, but I'm going to be 100% confident in him.
So we have Jahan Dotson, Dameon Pierce, and George Pickens coming off the board after that, and now you are back up on the clock, Sam.
Yeah, so honestly, I love Rashad White. Completely agree with your reasoning, but with kind of the news, and I think it confirms something that we already expected, but the news around Deontay Johnson's contract situation, it has me really rising on Pickens. So, I think I would have taken Pickens there, and I would have loved for Pickens to fall to me here, but unfortunately, he was picked right before me, which leaves me with, honestly, a lot of people I don't like. And so at this tier, so the people who are available to me, I've got kind of this last tier of running backs. Well, to me, there's a break after Dameon Pierce. So I like Dameon Pierce's talent a lot. He was probably talent-wise, honestly, I'd say maybe even higher than Rashad White for me. I really liked his talent coming into the draft. Definitely.
That's what I was going to say.
So, I liked him, but I'm not high on the talent for Spiller. I know Trev and I, we both agree that most of his production came from the incredible offensive line that Texas A&M had versus any kind of talent from Spiller.
Tight ends as well. It wasn't all O-line, but yeah, it's like tight ends and O-line.
Great blocking tight ends as well.
Run blockers.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, great run blocking team. So I'm not thrilled with the talent. I am very, very, very low on Tyler Allgeier's talent. He's probably my least favorite running back in this class. I think he stumbled into his touchdown rate at BYU. I think it was scheme versus any kind of talent. So definitely not going to take him. I don't really like the quarterbacks here either. I think both of these Malik Willis, obviously somebody that was very hyped pre-draft. But I just wouldn't feel 100% confident taking him here this high. I like to take him maybe a few picks later if I was looking for a quarterback. So I'm going to take honestly the same guy that I took last time we did a rookie draft. And he's kind of my go-to when I get to tiers of running backs and wide receivers I don't like. And that's going to be Trey McBride, tight end for Arizona. I think he's a great talent. I think 204 is a great spot for a tight end. Honestly, I would even take Trey McBride earlier if I was looking down the barrel of taking Jahan Dotson.
If it's a tight end premium too.
Oh, if it's a tight end premium, yeah, definitely. I'm taking probably 201. Actually, we're all in a tight end premium league together, and I had the 201.
Super tight end premium league.
Yeah, super tight end premium. I had the 201 and was concerned I wouldn't get McBride. So, yeah, I think out of the tight ends this year, he's the one with the clearest path to being, kind of a top 6, top 12 tight end in the future. Obviously, don't really expect anything out of him this year since he's still behind Zach Ertz. But 2 to 3 years, I think that offense and his talent can create a tight end that's worth owning. So happy to take Trey McBride there.
Yeah. And I
just wanted to throw in. Hold on. I just wanted to throw in your pick of Rashad White. I agree that I think if I'm taking anybody there, I think it's Pierce. Love White's opportunity, like you said, like the things you love about him. But the only thing is like a running back's got such a short shelf life anyway. Fournette will be gone, sure, but that same token, Tom Brady may be gone. So, like, you may be looking at an entirely different run offense than a guy that's going to catch passes from Tom Brady, because if Fournette's gone, like we're talking about, and Brady's also gone, then it's it's not a guy that's definitely guaranteed targets by any means.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but I also think that if you look at Dameon Pierce, you have no clue what the offense is going to be next year for the Texans. You have no clue, what are they going to do with Mills? Are they going to draft a quarterback? It depends on how well they do this year. They're probably still going to be picking top 3, top 5. So they're probably going to get a quarterback, depending on if they can get a high enough pick to get either Young or Stroud. But I think that there's no guarantee for Pierce here, and I like the capital for White. He was a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah.
A little bit better than Pierce. I think, the difference between 3 and 4, though, is pretty big.
Sure. I think the biggest concern I have with Rashad White, I completely agree on the opportunity standpoint again, but I mean, just I still remember Keyshawn Vaughn getting drafted in the exact position you drafted Rachaad White here. So.
Fair. But I like the talent of Rachaad White a lot more. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just not a big believer in Keyshawn Vaughn's talent. But he was going first rounds because he was behind. I think it was just him and Ronald Jones. They hadn't signed Fournette yet. So it's just a point to how quickly those situations can change. But I mean, honestly, we're in a tier where all these running backs are kind of gross.
So now we got Malik Willis, Isaiah Spiller, and Desmond Ridder off the board, and you're up, Trev. And while you're making your pick, I just want to talk about these quarterbacks real quick because it's a little bit more interesting.
I was too.
Yeah. So,
honestly, that was the first thing I wanted to talk about.
We come into a class this year where the quarterback situation was how many quarterbacks are going to go off the board in the first round? Who's going to go off the board? Is Malik Willis going to be the second overall pick?
Number 8 overall pick going to Atlanta.
Exactly. And what ended up happening was Kenny Pickett goes 20, and then everyone slides. You get Desmond Ridder at the start of the third. Then you have Malik Willis being drafted by the Titans, and then Matt Corral goes. And then Sam Howell falls to the 5th. So I'm curious about you guys because the way I feel is if you need Pickett in the first, I don't have a problem taking him. He's definitely going to be their guy. Whether he's going to be great or not, I'm not in love with the talent, but I don't think he's going to be a bad quarterback.
For a guaranteed year wait, well, not guaranteed, but for a most likely year wait, but still definitely their guy. I see what you're saying, yeah. Like, no problem, really, if you take him, as long as you don't mind waiting a year.
Yeah, I mean, even then, he's going to be on the field this year. He's going to see some value. It just depends on what your belief is. I was under, my stance on this was if you need a quarterback in the second, try and get to the end of the round. If you're in the beginning, trade back. Or trade up into the back of the second, and then take Matt Corral. And now my stance, I didn't talk about this before with Baker Mayfield, because we were going to bring it up here, but I think now I'm not taking a quarterback in the second round. Because I still like the talent of Matt Corral, but I'd rather just wait until the third, because I think he will slip now. He was going in the back of the second anyway, most of the time, and now I think he'll slip even more because Baker Mayfield's there. So if you can try and get him in the third, that's great. But I wouldn't really be taking any of these guys in the second round.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't take any of them in the second, to be honest with you. Quarterback needy or no, I don't think I'd take any of them outside of Kenny Pickett. It's just maybe, like you said, Matt Corral in the late third, but I don't think I'm taking any quarterback from this year. I mean, beat reporters got to be singing some praises for Ridder because I don't think there's any way he's starting this year, even if Mariota's bad. Like, I just don't think there's any way that's a thing. And Malik Willis is behind, like, a great talent in Tannehill, especially as far as, like, real life NFL. Like, he doesn't make a ton of mistakes and yada, yada, yada. But I don't know. I'm just not taking a quarterback, I think, after Pickett, unless it's in the late third. I would take any of these guys in the late third, including Matt Corral, but I don't think I'm taking either of these guys in the second, even the late second.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's easy to say when, we're drafting without teams. I still think, like, if you have, like, this really QB-needy team, and I'm looking at, like, a running back and wide receiver tier I don't love, that I'll take a shot at Malik Willis based on talent, like, because, I mean, he was very hyped up to be, like, if he does end up playing for the Titans, like, he will score a lot of fantasy points. Like, he will be like a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback. So, like, I think, like, if you're stacked at running back and wide receiver, and you're like, man, the only thing I'm hurting on is quarterback. I've got something to get me through this year, but if Malik Willis, just play, if they cut Tannehill in 23 and Malik Willis plays, and I don't have to spend a 23 pick on a quarterback, that'd be amazing. So, like, yeah. I'll do it. I'm not going to take Desmond Ridder. I'm not taking Desmond Ridder anywhere. So that's not going to happen because I think the Falcons are in the same boat as the Texans of if they have a shot at Young or Stroud, they're going to take it.
I think
So,
the only difference is the Falcons are gonna be worse. I think.
yes, I agree. I think they have a
This
better
team
chance.
will be drafted. They will get Stroud or
It's
Young.
a near guarantee that they're gonna have Stroud or Young.
So for
I
everyone's
really hope.
record,
But with
sorry.
Willis, at least, like there's a potential future where he is very good for fantasy. So I mean, if I'm QB media, now maybe not the 105, or 205, but I mean I'll pick him. I'm not swearing off quarterbacks for the second round. So anyways, Trev, who do you actually want to pick here?
Well, before I make my pick, I'm running out of time. Before I make my pick, I just thought about the fact that we
you have 2 minutes
haven't
left.
we haven't established who we're fans of. We did in one of the Ghost episodes. I'm a huge Atlanta Falcons fan, and I don't believe in Ritter at all. Sam, you wanna?
Yes, I'm a Texans fan, so yeah, been talking about Pierce and talking about future quarterbacks for the Texans. So hopefully you can trust my opinion a little bit more on Texans topics, but
Yeah, and
don't trust my opinion at all on Falcons. At all.
Yeah, and I will give you as much unbiased Ravens
right, of course,
opinions as possible. Yeah.
Well, see, the Texans are so bad, I can't be. There's nothing to be biased for.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, that's where I run into trouble with the Falcons. Is like they're bad, and I have nothing to be biased about with them. But like, I love them all so much. It's hard to not be biased and grab them early and think their win totals are going to be higher. But
that's why you're going to Tyler Algier.
Yeah, exactly. Tyler Algier.
So speaking of the Falcons, yeah, no. To be honest with you, I'm glad Spiller went. He went 206, which I think is early for him. But had he fallen to 208, I don't believe in him. But I believe in the opportunity behind Eckler if Eckler were to get hurt. So I think I would have taken him here. I still wouldn't have taken the quarterbacks, and I definitely would have taken Trey McBride, who Sam took at the 4 spot. But out of the guys that are left, it's at running back, it's Algier and Zamir White with the news on Josh Jacobs. At wide receiver, we're looking at Bell, Pierce, Mechie, Tolbert. Quarterback, all that's left is Matt Corral, basically. But I am going to end up taking the same guy I took last time, a guy I truly believe is one of the best wide receivers in this draft class. I'm going to take Mechie. Dang, that was close.
The suspense.
That timer came down to like 4 seconds, everybody. That was great.
That was incredible.
Run the pick in. Run it in.
Yeah. I love Mechie.
That's a good.
I think a lot of people are a little shyer, I guess, on him. I mean, you got an injury or whatever, but also because he was behind, excuse me, Jamison Williams. But I do love Mechie's talent. And in Houston, where you have an older and still great Brandon Cooks, and you have a younger and a guy I believe in, but a good Nico Collins. I think, huh?
Unproven though, right, Nico?
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's if I'm going to take a guy at 2.8 here with what's left on the board, for me, it's a huge break between Mechie and everybody else. And that includes the 2 quarterbacks that went earlier than my pick. I would pick Mechie at probably at 2.5 or 2.6, depending on, Spiller and Pierce and Rashad White.
Yeah, well, the other guy I was debating taking at the 112 was Mechie. I am a big Mechie fan. I loved Mechie not last year before he came out, but the year before that when he was playing with Mac Jones. He looked great. Even he was behind Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, but he was really good. He's not going to be a number 1. That's not what he is, and maybe not even number 2. But he's going to be a really solid number 3. It's just a question of can he do that on the Texans, and we'll see. And I think even for I like the talent of Mechie. I think he's a really good wide receiver. So if they can figure out what their quarterback situation is, or if Davis Mills can play better than he did last year, which he played all right last year, I think Mechie could be a really solid floor play, kind of like Jacoby Myers.
And I think points for Mechie, the Texans traded up, I think 40 picks. They traded up, well, not 40 picks, but 20
right ahead
picks.
of the Ravens to pick
Yeah,
Mechie.
yes. They traded up pretty significantly to get Mechie into the second round. So I think that shows you their investment in him. We've talked a lot about with the Texans. My biggest concern with most Texans is the fact that this team is very in flux. Like, really any position, they have so many picks from the Deshaun Watson trade that they could easily pick, replacement players in the next 2 to 3 years because they're still in a probably 2 to 3 year window for a rebuild before they can compete, I think. But I think the investment they've shown that with Mechie is pretty significant that they're not going to move on from him quickly. I think they'd move on honestly Nico quicker than Mechie.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but the talent's there. So the talent's there, the opportunity's there, the draft capital investment's there. So yeah, it's a good pick.
I have a hard time with his teammate going so much further ahead of him when he has shown he has that elite talent as well, even if it is Houston compared to Detroit. But Detroit doesn't have a quarterback. So, like, injuries aside, quarterbacks aside, offensive styles aside, it's crazy to me they're going more than a full round different.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm happy to take him at 208. I'm not happy about 108. I am happy about 208.
Yeah, I think there's some good values that you can get in the second round. Because it's so spread out, so you've got that shot at getting your guy. Because once you get into the 108, it's what guys do you like and what guys do other people not like. So then that's when you can get people falling to you. So yeah, so you made this pick pretty easy for me, Trev, because
I'm happy.
There are really
happy
two. Yeah, thank you. There are really two guys that I kind of look at here in the back of the second to try and get to me. Just to talk about some of the guys we got left on the board here. At wide receiver, you got David Bell, Alec Pierce, Tolbert, Wan'Dale Robinson, Khalil Shakir. Running back, you have Tyrion Davis-Price, Brian Robinson, Keontae Ingram. So nothing really great here, except for this guy that I'm going to...
Is it Shakir or Shakur? Because I've been pronouncing it Shakur.
I mean, I think it's more fun to say Shakir. So, I don't know what his name pronunciation is, but one guy that
I need a producer to get on that.
Yeah, post draft, I fell in love with this pick a little bit. I really liked the landing spot, and the more I thought about it, I thought this was really good. Someone who I didn't really have any feelings about pre-draft. I wasn't like in or out on, but I really like this landing spot, and that's Alec Pierce. The wide receiver for the Colts. He has got a really good shot at being the number 2 guy. And with Matt Ryan there, who, depending on what you think of Matt Ryan, he's definitely towards the end of his career, but he has supported 2 wide receivers often for fantasy. And Alec Pierce just has to beat out Paris Campbell, who... Are we going into year 5 of Paris Campbell being healthy and being the number 2 wide receiver for the Colts? That's being pushed out again.
I think it's 4, but it's still he's played like 16 games in that span. Whether it's 4 or 5, that doesn't matter. It's less than a full season on multiple years. I mean, as a wide receiver at least. So like, miss a game or 2, whatever. Miss 2 seasons.
Yeah. So I really think he can really be, and he can sniff into the end zone. He's a little bit of a bigger body guy who can go up and make some of those contested catches, and that's kind of also the style I like too. I like some of the bigger guys that can make those contested catches. So yeah, so that was a pretty easy pick for me, and then go for it.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I was just gonna say I can't agree more. I think at your spot with who was left after I took Mechie, I mean they took 2 running backs and Matt Corral, who we just talked about being in the 3rd round at 210. So I think Pierce is such an easy decision. I think Pierce should go much earlier than that. I think he and Mechie both should go early. This draft at least.
Yeah, Mechie and Pierce are pretty closely ranked to me. It would have been a toss-up between Mechie and Pierce at the 208.
For you, it would be tougher. In general, it's tough. Would you take Mechie?
Honestly, it's hard. I like try to unbias myself so hard from Texans players and not just take them that it's like I'll often like default to not taking the Texans players.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm totally
But the
taking
thing is,
Atlanta
as
guys
soon
if
as
it's
he has
if
a
it's a
good game,
debate.
I'll be like trading first round picks for him. So that's the
Yeah.
that's the struggle. So all right, let's see who came off the board. Jelani Woods, tight end for the Colts. Sam Howell, quarterback for the Washington Commanders, and then Greg Dulcich. So honestly, I didn't lose a single running back or wide receiver in between 212 and 104, which is pretty nice. I already took a tight end in this draft. So, imagining as if I were a team, I would obviously not have taken Jelani Woods or Greg Dulcich. Sam Howell is going to be a lifetime backup. I don't think he's, I honestly don't think he's worth spending a rookie draft pick on.
Yeah, I agree.
You might as well throw your rookie pick in the trash. But some people are very quarterback desperate, so they'll take a shot at anybody who has potential. And I mean, I'm guilty of having Kellen Mond on some dynasty teams, even though I'll probably never do anything. So I get it. Let's see who's left for me. I think before it became a little bit clear that Deshaun Watson is probably going to be suspended a full season or more, I was reasonably high on David Bell's opportunity, not the talent, but there honestly is not much of anything behind Amari Cooper for the Cleveland Browns. Brendan, I know you're
Kills me to hear you say that.
Yeah. Truther, but
No,
but
I mean,
and he
it
played
is
well
what it-
last year. But
Listen, I have to give it up a little bit. It is what it is. He's been in the league for going into year 3 now, and he hasn't really done
Right.
too much.
So I would have taken him just because Deshaun Watson can. I mean, he's made 2 wide receivers look very good in the past with DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. Both were very, very, very startable wide receivers when he was playing for the Houston Texans. But with the suspension, I'm not touching David Bell because I don't like the talent anyways. The options for me are really going to be Jalen Tolbert. I'm very high on Jalen Tolbert. I think that Michael Gallup is not going to start the season because of his injury last year. I think he's going to be out for a few games. And so behind CeeDee Lamb, I think Jalen Tolbert can easily step into a wide receiver 2 position at least to start the year. So I'm willing to take him there, and if he can play well in those first few games, then I think he has an opportunity. I also really like Brian Robinson here. I think that comments from Ron Rivera have made it clear that he really wants to use both Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, probably as well as J.D. McKissic. Now, obviously, that's an unappetizing committee backfield, but the 3rd round, if I can get somebody who's going to get touches at the running back position, I think that's pretty valuable. I'm not huge on Tyrion Davis-Price. I get the whole San Francisco 49ers pick a running back situation, but it's honestly a crapshoot, right? We've seen it before where Kyle Shanahan took Trey Sermon in the 3rd round and then took Elijah Mitchell in the 6th.
Yeah.
And Elijah Mitchell's the one who played really well, so it's tough. I don't know if I really want to play that game if I have Brian Robinson, who I think is stepping into a more concrete role, versus Tyrion Davis-Price is just a maybe type of pick. So and then Wanda Robinson. I like his talent a lot, but that with Kadarius Toney doesn't look like Kadarius Toney is going to be traded. I'm not thrilled with his opportunity. So to me, it's really Jalen Tolbert or Brian Robinson, and it's tough for me here. Honestly, just on a team composition standpoint, I'm gonna pretend as if I am a team here, and I already took Treylon Burks in the 1st, so I'm gonna take Brian Robinson here. Even though I think I probably would give Jalen Tolbert the edge, just value-wise. But I'm going to take Robinson just out of... It's honestly 50-50 for me between the 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything that you just said there. I think those would be my 2 guys Obviously, I would be looking at Dulcich there, but he was off the board.
Sure, yeah.
One of my guys that I really like this year. But yeah, I think Brian Robinson, he's definitely got a good shot at trying to get something there, whether it's from injury to Antonio Gibson or if he just gets worked in a little bit. But I do like the talent. I think he's probably the only running back left here that I think could be a 3-down back if given the opportunity.
I agree. I don't think there's a running back I really want to take after Robinson for sure. To me, I'd put him above Zamir White at least, out of the guys in this draft that have been drafted already.
That's crazy to me that Zamir White came off the board before Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. But along those lines, also want to throw in this. In the third round, you're either looking for a guy that's going to explode, like just unreal, or because I think Scary Terry, his draft was like a third-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, fantasy-wise. But like, you either want a guy and you're going to get him and like that's great, or you want a guy that you can trade for better than what you drafted, right? So like the whole idea is at 3-4, you got Burks, you got McBride. Whether or not you need a running back, you could probably pair Brian Robinson, if he does end up being part of that committee, with someone else to upgrade your running back position.
Yeah, for sure. That's
so like versus you're talking about Sam Howell, Woods, and Dolchik that went before him. You're not pairing those with somebody to upgrade at the same position. Even Davis Price, unless he is the one in San Francisco that ends up being like insane. But yeah, I agree with everything you said about Robinson. I would also take Robinson there. I was just going to throw that in.
So after you took Robinson, we have Tyrion Davis-Price off the board, David Bellinger, and Keontae Ingram. And Trev, you are back up on the clock.
So got the same wide receivers he was looking at because, again, like his pick, like Sam's pick, no wide receiver went. So I got a running back, tight end, running back. So we're looking at Bell, Tolbert, and one that Sam didn't really mention that's one of my guys is Shakir, however we would like to pronounce it. The old shake and bake there. I'm going to go ahead and tell you like ahead of time. I'm picking him. That's my guy. If I can get him in the third round, I'm grabbing him. Love the offense. I don't think he's an immediate impact player. I don't, but I think out of the guys that are left, especially if you're drafting late in the third round, if he's there, I'm taking him. Him or Tolbert, which you discussed earlier. But like that's the two with the opportunity in the offense that I would like. So out of these, even though Tolbert may have a clearer opportunity, I'm still taking Shakir. I was big on him before the draft, and I'm big on him in Buffalo, so I am going to take him. But if I was going to take another receiver, it would be Tolbert, or if it was going to be a running back here, which out of what's left is Hassan Haskins or Kyron Williams in L.A. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't take anybody after Robinson. Yeah, so for me, it is going to be
those guys on waivers, but I'm not going to draft Haskins or.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely get him on some waivers, but it's Shakir for me.
I'll also say, personally, I will take K. Dotton over Daniel Bellinger. I'm surprised that Bellinger is still going
agreed.
After Gronkowski retiring.
Yep. I would take K. Dotton. For me, I think right now, this is I like Dulcich more than Trey McBride, just talent-wise. So I would take him before I took Trey McBride. But obviously, you can wait a little bit longer. You don't have to reach for that guy. You could probably get Dulcich most of the time in the third. But I think for me, K. Dotton is definitely the third tight end here that you want to take, especially over Jelani Woods, who I do think has a chance to do something in Indy. But yeah, after Gronk is probably going to come back, let's be honest.
Mid-season, maybe.
Mid-season, playoffs, whatever it is. But
I don't think he does.
Oh, really? Listen, I mean, I also don't like. There's a chance he might not, but I think he probably comes back at some point, even if it's just for the playoffs. But yeah, Kadon, he's got to beat out Cameron Brate, and Cameron Brate has shown that he's a blocker. That's it. That's all he is. Oh.
You would take him over Woods as well when his competition is a couple of unproven guys and Mo Alley Cox?
I would, because I think the opportunity is better
Mm.
there. I think to get a guy who could be, I think I also view K-Dot a little bit more like in terms of talent wise. I don't know. Jelani Woods is good, but I think I'd rather have K-Dot, and especially this year. In the third round, you're looking for upside, and the upside of the tight end 1 in Tampa Bay, if K-Dot comes out and shows greatness and starts strong, which most tight ends don't do, but if he does, if he has a Pat Freiermuth season, I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, I like K-Dot over Woods and most of these guys.
Yeah.
So hey, real quick before we get into the Mr. Irrelevant of this mock draft, I just got to ask, Sam, what do you think of Brendan's and mine? And Brendan, what do you think of Sam and my drafts so far? Like, if you could trade, because Sam's obviously at 1-4, but like, if you could trade some players around, would you be willing to do that? Now seeing how things have fallen.
Yeah, I mean, I really like taking. I think 4 is a really good spot because I'm in the mindset that there's a clear 4. I'm with Sam with Breece Hall, Ken Walker, Drake London, and Traylon Burks. I think those are the top 4, and then after that, it's a little bit of a break for Olave, and then Wilson and Williams for me. But with the picks that you guys have, like I really love Traylon Burks. The Traylon Burks pick is good. The Trey McBride pick's not bad. I don't have him as my tight end 1, but I can clearly see that the opportunity is going to be there, especially for a dynasty. He's got Kyler Murray there. Kyler Murray's, we don't know yet, but he's going to be their franchise quarterback, you would think. And
behind Ertz and Max Williams.
Yeah, and Ertz is going to be gone. Max Williams is a nobody.
Max Williams is going to be gone too for too long.
Yeah, so McBride has the opportunity by next year to be the clear one there. So,
and he's already showing to be the tight end too. So
yeah, and I like the Cook pick from your spot. It's really good. And then Mechie, I love that. That's a great pick at 2-8.
I don't like this Shakir pick. That's the only pick. I'll say it. I understand you liking Shakir, but with Tolbert still on the board,
yeah,
there's no way I would
he's
ever
still going to get picked, by the way.
Honestly, though, with Brendan's draft, I'm assuming Brendan's going to take Jalen Tolbert. I don't know, but that's my assumption.
I would if I'm him.
Yes.
I think he got Alec Pierce and Jalen Tolbert at incredible values, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
a big fan
that's what
of those 2 picks for Brandon.
I think this is very unreasonable for what the 112 is going to be. I don't think you're going to.
Well, I've seen Tolbert go 201 to get him, or 301.
Yeah.
Getting Tolbert 312 is incredible.
Yeah, I don't think this is how most drafts would normally shake up. I am going to take Tolbert, but real quick, I just want to talk about some other guys. I don't know if you guys have any guys that you want to talk about. For me, some of these guys, if you are doing a 4th round, or once your draft is done going into waivers, these are some of the guys that I would look for. I really like Pierre Strong's talent, but the opportunity is not the greatest. He's behind Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. They also took, I believe, Kevin Harris in the 6th round. So that's.
He's also behind their fullback and the ancient, what's his name?
James White.
James White.
Yeah.
So, like in all reality, he's 5th on that.
He's not
that
getting
squad
much
right
opportunity. Now. So just if you have a taxi stash, I do like the talent there. I also like Tyler Beatty's good. Right now. There have been reports that J.K.
The Baltimore fan loves Beatty. It's surprising.
I did like Beatty coming out. Beatty's not going to be anything more than a pass catching back in the NFL. He's pretty small, but he's a little bit shifty, and I kind of see him more. He's like a Philip Lindsay, the guy that I really like. But right now, J.K. Dobbins, it's been reported that he might not be on. He's not on track right now. For the way his injury is, it's not progressing the way they want. So whether that's him missing training camp or him not being ready for the season, and we don't know with Gus Edwards because he was also injured, and they have Mike Davis, who, what a stupid signing. But yeah, I think Tyler.
I mean, they had.
Yeah, I think Tyler Baker.
Well, I was gonna say they had old vets last year. Mike Davis is an improvement on the guys they had, but that doesn't mean he's good.
I'm not sure if I agree with that.
I disagree.
You know what he's better than Freeman and Bell? Dude, he did better in Atlanta with a worse offensive line.
Who already knew the system would have been better to keep him than something like
I agree completely. If you're going to take a guy, I'm surprised, unless Freeman's not going to play football anymore. But Freeman showed...
He shouldn't be.
Freeman played well. I watch every single Ravens game. He played well. Like, for what, he came in, I think it was through the season. I think it was like week 4 or whatever. I mean, Le'Veon Bell was terrible. He was awful.
Yes.
So I agree. Mike Davis is better than Le'Veon Bell, but Freeman I would have taken back over signing Mike Davis. But Beatty's got a shot. And then one other guy I want to talk about real quick, because there are concerns about Treylon Burks. And this is a guy that I did like before the draft too, and now there has been some buzz that he's been doing really good in minicamp and OTAs and stuff like that, and that's Kyle Phillips. I think Kyle Phillips is really good. So those are just some guys that I want to point out for waivers, or if you're doing a round 4. Any guys that you guys want?
Sam, do you have anybody you'd want to point out?
Yeah, typically my go-to waiver guy, and I'd say several weeks ago, was Keontae Ingram. I'm not thrilled about him anymore after the Cardinals signed Darrell Williams. I think that was a great signing to get Darrell Williams. He's, I think, very underrated as far as his talent. So, yeah, I don't love Keontae Ingram as much anymore. Just let's see, out of these guys, somebody that I would like that wasn't mentioned. I think I'd pick up Tyquan Thornton here. I think Tyquan Thornton, I don't necessarily think he's the best receiver in the world, but he's got a lot of speed, and the New England offense needs the speed and the draft capital, right? So, I'd be happy to take. I think I would definitely spend fab on Thornton, just looking at who's left here. I think that's the only guy I'd spend like significant capital on, maybe. Or fab.
3 guys not mentioned that I don't believe in, but I'd be willing to spend fab on for a space at the end of my roster, or more likely my taxi squad. Ross, Dubs or Daubs, I've heard it both ways, but and Calvin Austin in Pittsburgh. Out of those 3, the ADP wise, Austin's last, but I would take him before the other 2. But Ross has risen a ton from, like, Brendan, you may want to make your pick. Ross has risen a ton from like the equivalent of like the 6th round in rookie picks to the 4th now. And Dubs or Doubs, whatever. Green Bay, he was 4th round, right? Yeah, he was 4th round. Yeah. So 4th round pick, but he's behind a 2nd round pick and 3 vets that are all old and that we don't. Well, no, I guess, is Allen Lazard? How old is Allen Lazard?
Allen Lazard.
He's not that old, right? But either way, he's behind 3 vets. 2 of them are old, Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins. I don't expect much from the 3 of them all together. So the same reason that we take a lot of guys in the 3rd round, opportunity, which is I was going to speak to Shakur a minute ago, but the opportunity is there for sure. And then you said you didn't like the Shakur pick. I just want to throw this out there. So I said it before, but the reason in 3rd rounds, I'm either picking a guy that I think I can trade away quickly for better value than what I drafted him at, or I'm picking a guy that I think I can hold on to for a year or at most 2 and then have better value. And I think that's what That's the main reason I pick him is I like his talent beforehand, and in Buffalo, I think within a year or two, I can get way better than a third-round pick, a late third-round pick.
308, you need to put a flag down on the guy you believe in, So.
Or put a flag down on the guy you're willing to drop.
Fine.
Yeah,
sure.
one or the other.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm fine with the philosophy of the pick. I'm just saying I would have made a different one, but yeah, cool.
Yep. So the big things to take away are after 7, it's kind of a crapshoot. Quarterbacks they're much weaker this year than most years, and I think the biggest thing is the variance between picks. Like you could see, like you said, Sam, Tolbert going at 3-1 or 3-12 sometimes.
Yeah.
And it all just depends on your league and what guys are, how much they like certain players. And I think the one thing that I always try and remember when I'm drafting is, especially for rookies, don't make it complicated. Just keep it simple. If you really, really like a guy, just take the guy. Don't have to reach. If you're in the first round and you really want David Bell, don't do that. But like if you're in the second or third round and you got a guy that, like, say you're all in on Isaiah Spiller, and you got the 2-1 and you've still got Dameon Pierce, Rashad White on the board, just take your guy. I think that's.
I completely agree. There's this draft. I don't think there's like you're missing out on this like massive wealth of talent if you just take your guy a little bit early. So
ours didn't really pan out this way, like our draft specifically when we did this one. But assuming that the quarterbacks don't go when they did, and a few more picks shift around to Hayer, I don't really care about past the second when we're talking about these players. Like when you were talking about getting your guy, if I've got anything from about 2-5 and earlier, including in the end of the first round, I'm not really trying to trade back necessarily. Like I'll still take those guys where they are. But pretty much after that point, if you want to trade back or if you can trade into 23, which I'm a big believer in the class of 23, but like if you can trade back, trade out, I don't have a problem with it. Otherwise, take your guy regardless of ADP. If it's a guy that's ADP, unless it's in like the 5th or 6th equivalent round that you can get on waivers, just get your guy.
Yeah.
206 and 312 are the same for me. Just about it. I mean, like, because I don't want to trade back and risk losing him because I think other people are doing the same thing. It's just my personal opinion. I think they're getting their guys at 2-9, 2-10, 2-11. So if a guy's ADP is at 3-11, I'll take him at 2-7. That's not a problem for me.
Yep. All right. Well, hopefully this helps you guys out in your drafts, just to get some different opinions on players. And yeah, this has been a really good exercise. Next episode, we are going to be doing a startup Superflex draft. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and peace out.